Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to nerd out about Wordle.
Always up for a good word game deep dive.
So whether you're like me, chasing that elusive streak, or just starting out and, figuring out the whole thing.
We're just got to start somewhere.
Exactly. We've got a fascinating deep dive for you today. We're looking at research by Kevin Brake, who's basically taken all the fun out of Wordle and turned it into, well, science.
You mean there's a method to the Wordle madness? I thought it was all luck.
Right. But that's the thing. Kevin Brake's research shows there are actual strategies you can use to up your game. So we're going to break down some of his key findings.
I am so here for this.
Okay, so first up, Brake talks about the importance of that starting word. He suggests words like table or crane. What do you think makes those words such a strong start? What's the logic there?
Well, they've got a good mix of vowels and consonants, and they use letters that are statistically more likely to appear in five-letter words. So it's all about maximizing your chances of getting some early hits, right? Getting some yellows, getting some greens, and kind of unlocking the puzzle.
It's wild. You think you're just picking a word you like, but there's strategy in that first guess? I never would have thought about that.
I know, right? It's like a whole other level.
So it's not just about knowing a lot of words.
No, there's definitely a strategy.
Okay, so speaking of letters, Kevin Brake also talks about the power of common letters like E, A, R, and T. Now, that might seem obvious once you hear it.
Yeah, it seems kind of intuitive.
Right. But how many of us are really thinking about letter frequency when we're, in the Wordle zone?
It's true. We tend to just go with our gut. But there's this whole other layer of, linguistic probability at play. These letters just pop up more often in five-letter words, so using them increases your chances of finding a match.
Okay, now I have to ask you about this because it really threw me for a loop. Kevin Brake actually warns against double letters and uses the word fuzzy as an example. Why are double letters so deceiving? What's the deal with that?
Fuzzy. A classic Wordle trap. Our brains love patterns, right? So we see a double letter and we get fixated on it. We assume it must be in the final word, but as Brake's research shows, that's not always the case. And it could really send you down a rabbit hole.
So how do we avoid falling into these double letter traps? I mean, it seems like our brains are almost working against us.
Well, that's where the elimination method comes in. This is crucial. You've got your virtual Wordle grid, and think of it like you've got this mental notepad, too. Every time you guess a word and a letter lights up yellow or gray, cross it off your mental notepad. Actually shrink the pool of possible letters with each guess.
So it's like a game of mental Tetris.
Exactly.
You're trying to eliminate possibilities and fit those remaining pieces together.
I love that analogy. It's about constantly refining those possibilities until you zero in on the solution.
And it makes you realize Wordle isn't just about knowing a lot of words. There's this whole other strategic layer to it.
Totally.
Kevin Brake really emphasizes that.
Yeah.
Looking for patterns.
Yes.
Like common word endings.
It's huge, like N or ed.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think those patterns are so powerful? How can we use them to our advantage?
Well, I mean, our brains are like pattern recognizing machines, right?
Exactly. We are hardwired for it.
So when we see those common endings, our brain's already 10 steps ahead, making predictions, trying to
It's giving you a head start.
Yeah.
Consciously almost, right?
It's like your brain is whispering Wordle hints to you, trying to nudge you in the right direction.
Totally. And by consciously recognizing those patterns, you're kind of working with your brain's natural abilities to crack the code faster.
So cool. Have you ever had a moment where one of these patterns just unlocked the Wordle for you?
Oh, absolutely. I remember this one time, I was totally stumped, just staring at the grid. And then I noticed the last three squares were blank. And it just hit me. What if it ends in "ing"? And boom, the answer was shining. It was like a light bulb went off.
It's amazing how those little aha moments can completely change the game, right?
Game changers for sure.
Okay, so if we were to sum up all of Kevin Brake's Wordle wisdom into one big takeaway.
One golden nugget.
Exactly. What would it be? What's the key to unlocking your inner Wordle champion?
I think it's about embracing the journey of discovery. It's about having fun with the process, experimenting with different strategies, and finding what clicks for you.
Love that.
Because his research gives us this awesome framework for approaching the game more strategically.
Right.
But it's still up to each player to adapt those strategies and find their own winning style.
It's not about memorizing a rule book.
Right.
It's about using these insights to become a more intuitive player.
Yes, exactly. And here's where I think it gets really fascinating. These principles, right? Letter frequency, pattern recognition, strategic elimination, they're not limited to Wordle.
Wait, are you saying that these Wordle skills can actually be applied to other areas of our lives?
I think so, absolutely. Think about it. When you're playing Wordle, you're basically training your brain to think like a code breaker, right? You're searching for clues, analyzing patterns, using logic to arrive at a solution. Those skills are transferable to so many different domains.
So it's like whether you're solving a crossword puzzle or like deciphering a cryptic message or even like trying to guess someone's password.
You're exercising those same mental muscles.
Wow.
You're sharpening your linguistic agility,
Right.
your ability to think strategically. It's like any skill, the more you practice, the better you become.
Like Wordle is like a brain gym for life.
Right. Who knew?
And what I love about Kevin Brake's research is that it really it reveals these hidden depths to something that seems so simple on the surface.
Totally. It reminds us that, we can find opportunities for learning and growth in the most unexpected places.
Mhm.
Like, who would thought Wordle would make us better thinkers?
Right. So it's a good reminder to stay curious, look for those underlying patterns.
Absolutely. It can pay off in all sorts of ways.
Well said. Well said. So next time you're facing that Wordle grid, remember the power of strategy, remember those common letters, the patterns, all the things we've been talking about, and most importantly, just have fun with it.
Enjoy the challenge.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this final thought. If understanding these, almost like the statistics of Wordle, right?
Yeah.
If that can actually make us better players, how might that kind of awareness translate to other areas of our lives, even beyond games?
It's something to think about, right?
Definitely. Something to ponder.
Maybe even over your next Wordle attempt.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this Wordle deep dive. Until next time.